Good morning. Thanks for joining me today. I did a kind of a stop and regroup on I'm going to call my tag book, because all of these have almost kind of turned into a page themselves. But they're tags. I mean, I could pull any of them out and use them or whatever. So kind of my inspiration book is a good way to put it. And I was kind of battling on how I was going to attach the pages together in this case. But I had a couple different ideas that were rolling through my head. Putting jump rings through the top and then attaching them up here so that we could flip it this way or flip it down, sew them, put eyelets in here, and then sew. And then funny, okay, so I have these. I don't know if you can see. I'm going to bring it up to you. These right, they're paint sticks. And they already have, inches and measurements stamped on the side. So I thought, oh, that would be perfect. So now how am I going to attach them? Because I already had the front part of my pages done. And these are an inch wide. So I thought I had better stop filling, because I still have all the backs of these to do, but I thought I would need to stop filling them so I can get it attached, see how thick an alligator mouth this is going to be, and how I'm going to get this to happen. So today I want to show you how I did it. I do not have these closed down yet because I need to take it apart again. I just pulled it. Take it apart again. And so I don't want to be opening and closing the back. So I'll have to just kind of hold that gently. So, yay, I love this. I actually seen a picture in Pinterest while I was staining these. And I believe it's Tim Holtz, his little mini rulers, I think is what they're called. I think it was Tim Holtz actually, his team that did a small, I don't know if it was a tea bags or I'm not sure what it was, and used his rulers there. So I thought, oh yeah, see, it works. Okay, let's just do it, because I was scared to attach anything because of all the hard work I put in here. And when I seen that photo, when Tim did that, I thought, nope, we can do it. And then if it goes all haywire, there's always that little 1/4 inch gap right there that I can just cut off with scissors and save my pages. So I went for it. And I love it. I'm glad I did. So these are the cutoff ends of the paint sticks. What I did is took my utility knife and just scored and just kept scoring the edges. You can see right at the 7-inch line. And then just cut right on through it. These are my leftover pieces. And I'd like to point out, so it's a little higher on the top. Oh, am I completely out of? Okay. And I left it that way in case I want to poke a hole through, or sew, or hang my dangle, or I'm not to that point yet, and then I can always score that off if I need to later. So it is a little bit longer, so you might want to adjust accordingly to yours. So once I had them cut to this, I took this chipboard and cut it to 1-inch strips as well. So I have 10 pages, so I cut 10 of these out. And what did I do? Oh, and then Okay, so then I marked them all across the tops on which way I wanted my numbers to face. And I placed them in between the two boards like so. Got them nice and even. And I laid them across the bottom. See, so where my overhang is here on the top. That way, because my pages are heavy, I'm going to set this up. I'm actually going to make a box next, so I hope you join me in that project. But it will house my my projects that I'm going to be making for myself for display. And so I wanted to be able to set it up, and I don't want the pages weighing down, so that's why I placed it even with the edge. And then I just took a clamp, squished it really good, just like that. And then here I came in 1.5 inches and up 1.5 inches to drill my holes. And these, I can pull this out. This is, it has a pretty good shaft on it, a brad. And I don't have any longer brads, so if I continue to add to this book, I'm gonna need a longer shaft. So you can always add, you know, a nut and a bolt, or a wing nut, or string through it and tie it. Could be really cool. I mean, possibilities are endless if I want to adjust for the thickness. But at this point, I'm really close to the edge, so when I open these up to secure it on the back, I'm going to be pretty close there. So I took my bit and measured on here, have my spots, and then I just drilled, joop, joop, and that way everything was lined up. Like to note though that you want to make sure that you mark on the top, you know, just with your pencil or whatever, so that you know when you're piecing it together what sides are your top. That way your holes will line up and you don't have them all cattywampus as you're putting it together. Okay, so once I got to that point and everything was marked and up, I then, this is like a linen, and I had ripped off some strips, which is all of these that you're seeing shaggedy, and I coffee dyed them to give them that grungy look. And then I cut these 1.5 inches wide, because I wanted the inch to cover, you know, the spine, if you will. And then I needed it to overlap on both sides about 1/4 inch. That way, when I took my tag, it would adhere to it. So all of these I have, let me take this apart. All of these I have attached just like this onto the back side that has not been, this is just our bottom layer of the weaved paper. I have a video on that if you've missed it. It's in my homepage. But I just glued all of them onto the back with that little, except for the very back one. So this is the back of my book. And what I did is I attached this to the front, or to the back side, so that it would fold like that, if that makes sense. So all the other ones are attached like that. This one's attached the opposite. That way. So that's the only one that you have to really watch out for when you're sewing them, or not. I mean, depending on the look that you're going for. And I left these overlapped quite a bit because I can always trim this up, rip it off once I start to decorate these. So it's pretty cool. The holes, I don't know what size it is, but the biggest cutter on my crocodile is the exact same hole size that these brads fit through. So that worked out well once I got these together. So I took this, I distressed it down first, and then you can see my holes already punched because I already drilled them when I went through that. Glued it down like so. So I have this already distressed. That way I don't have to monkey around with it while it's placed. Then I took and ran my glue bit down through here. And then attached my tag like this. And then I actually just kind of flipped it, which gave me a really nice little crease right there for my pages to open and close. So that is how I attached it, and I like it. There's a lot of different ways that you ladies can do it, but this way does work. And as this gets thicker though in here, I thought, well, you can always add a washer or a spacer, you know, to kind of keep the back this as thick as this. Because the more that this grows, then your book will tend to do that. So keep that in mind as you're placing it together. You might need to add spacers just, you know, through your holes, which could be kind of cool, depending on which direction you're going with it. So how did I get this? Because I started out with this. I took this walnut ink and I just sprayed a little bit on my sponge and just stained it like wood stain. And I think it turned out great. You can really see the wood grains coming through here. And it's just, and I just kind of hit the sides lightly. And then on the back side, I just glued some brown craft paper down. Just because I didn't want all the wording coming through. You can always stamp on this. Not going to see this as much, so I probably will decorate this though, because when I pull it out of my book, or if I add more to it, I think it would just look, you know, a little more finished. But and then again, if you can see, I marked the tops pretty heavily, so that when I stained it, I didn't lose my marks. So, all right, ladies. That's all I have for right now. I'm gonna get started on the insides and start kind of tying them all together, and then figuring out how to how I want these to look. But the fun thing about this is that you can always add to it. So the more that you learn, or you come across, you know, another idea that you want to do, is open it up, slap it in there. So it's kind of, you know, never ending. Like, this isn't the end of it. I can always keep adding to it. Again, it's just based upon, you know, how long of a shaft I can put through these in order, and how thick I want it to be. Might at some point always end up being better to start another one, and which I very well may do, because I absolutely like the way that this has turned out. So, all right, I hope I explained that well enough for everybody, and I hope that you're crafting along with me. Again, thank you for sharing your time this morning and watching me and hanging out. I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate all of my new subscribers. And I hope that you guys all have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye.